Hello, viewers. This is the YouTube channel Lex Consilium Foundation, and I'm Major General Neelendra Kumar on the playlist in Similia talking to Senior Advocate Sudhish Pai, based in Bangalore. And apart from his busy law practice, he is quite famous, well known as writer, as an author, and particularly, and of course, he is very frequently invited to speak. So he's a speaker, but I'm talking to him in his role as an author and law researcher, in that he has devoted considerable time and researched in depth about some of the well known, famous legal minds in India. And proceeding ahead in today's edition of this playlist, I move to John Beaumont. And my question to you, Sudhesh, is that in your book on page 190, and I refer to the new edition, you said that it was said, and John Beaumont was known for making on the spot judgments, and he usually wrote brief judgments. He made that practice fashionable. Would you like to explain this further for our viewers?
John Beaumont has the distinction of being the longest serving Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court. Apart from being one of the most illustrious English judges who came to India and sat in any court, he was Chief Justice from 1930 to 1943, quite a long period by any standard. Yes, he was a very sound legal person, well grounded in the law, quick in his grasp, and equally quick in delivery. Of course, he's contrasted with one of his predecessors, Chief Justice MacLeod, who was also very quick in disposal. But the distinction is Chief Justice Beaumont was not just quick, but he was conscious of the fact that he was not just disposing of some administrative files, but in disposing of cases, he was primarily dispensing justice. So that was very much in his mind. And it is said the difference is perhaps due to the fact that John Beaumont had a large practice in England before he came down to India, and he was well grounded and groomed in the practice of the common law.
That's something fantastic, and perhaps you would agree that it is needed now
Oh,
more
yes.
so, because
Yes, yes.
those judgments running into
Oh,
multiple
yes.
hundreds,
Yes, yes.
really, I don't know whether the litigants
Hundreds,
need them.
hundreds. Yes. And John Beaumont had made it, as you said, fashionable to deliver on the spot judgments and brief ones. It is said, in fact, this is what, if I'm not wrong, Chief Justice Chagla, who began his judicial career sitting with Chief Justice Beaumont, says that he would very attentively hear the arguments, make short notes, and when he felt that he had heard enough that would make him possible to render a judgment, he would even perhaps switch off and allow the argument to proceed.
Yes,
As
because
soon
this
as,
shows the exemplary grasp,
oh, yes,
capacity to grasp, go to the root of the matter, and
yes,
also to firm up a view as to
yes,
where and in what manner the justice needs to be done, having
uh,
regard to the applicable law.
yes. As soon as the arguments were completed, he would immediately proceed to judgment. Very brief, but he would cover everything. In fact, I remember Mr. Soli Sorabji telling me, and I just made a note of that. He pointed out to me one judgment of the full bench presided
Yes.
over by Justice. It is in AR 1942 Bombay, where in just 2 or 3 pages, the learned Chief Justice elegantly enunciated such significant legal principles. Not just one, but a range of them. That was the kind of judge that John Beaumont was. He was
Remarkable.
universally loved and respected.
Moving on, you have mentioned about an interaction between John Beaumont and KM Munshi, who
Yeah,
was
yeah.
also a very famous lawyer for many decades in Bombay High Court. Now, this was the matter of something like press censorship or pre censorship. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yes. In fact, Kulapati Munshi himself has heaped praise on Chief Justice Beaumont for the manner of his functioning, his hearing, and his judgments. After the 1935 Government of India Act when the first elections were held, and there was a government established in the provinces. If I'm not wrong, BG Kerr took over as the Premier of Bombay, and Kulapati Munshi KM Munshi was the Home Minister. There were riots in Bombay in 1938, and then the government imposed pre-censorship on news relating to riots. The riots were over and the censorship was withdrawn, but even then, one or two newspapers went up against that order in revision to the High Court. And it is said that the Chief Justice Beaumont, expressed his dislike for the government order, perhaps in a language not befitting a judge. And later, the Chief Justice and the Home Minister happened to meet in some function, and Beaumont is reported to have triumphantly told Munshi, I have set aside your pre-censorship order. Munshi told him, well, be sure that if such occasion arises, I will still impose the pre-censorship orders. My job is to restore order. Your job comes in much later after we make the order and implement it. So that's
Then,
the
then
incident.
only it comes up before you if in
Yes,
case challenged.
yes.
Okay, so that was the situation. And also, there was another occasion when Justice Beaumont decided to go to a jail, move to a jail. He had to meet a consul. What was actually the matter in that situation?
The council was Purushottam Trikumdas, very, very well-known
Famous
lawyer,
name those days.
famous name those days and later after the
Yes.
Supreme Court. At that point of time, Motilal Settleworth was the Advocate General and Purushottam Trikumdas was the government pleader. Purushottam Trikumdas was actively involved in the freedom movement, and I think for that he was imprisoned, and the Chief Justice went to meet him in jail, just a courtesy call. That was the occasion.
Perhaps even those days it was something uncommon.
Yes, yes. It is said that the Chief Justice had a lot of affection both for Settleworth and Purushottam Trikumdas, and he felt very offended when I think after the Quit India movement, both of them resigned because that was one of the steps that Gandhiji would have liked Indians to take, and Settleworth resigned as Advocate General, Purushottam Trikumdas resigned as government leader. And it is said Chief Justice Beaumont felt very offended and sad and came to the judge's library and told Chagla, what is this? Both the Advocate General and the government pleader have thrown up the sponge. He expressed his displeasure.
It is also said that, in fact, it is a little strange that despite the eminent position and the fame which this judge had as the Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court, being a judge there, yet when he was to leave Bombay, there was no farewell party or a function reference held. What was the actual reason behind that?
Yes, it's a sad irony that so good and great a judge had to go home literally unsung. The problem stemmed from the Quit India movement. I think everything went on well till 1942, but thereafter, the last 1 year, Chief Justice Beaumont, shall we say, I don't know whether it would be right to use this expression, but perhaps exhibited his English racism. Not racism in any other sense, but he was then not so well disposed towards the Indians. And there was a lot of rift between Beaumont and Justice Harilal Kania, who was the senior most judge. And it so happened that Beaumont was determined to see that Kania does not become the Chief Justice, and Leonard Stone was brought down from England. In fact, to dwell on this, Chief Justiceship Beaumont offered it to Motilal Settleworth, but Settleworth outright declined it, also for the reason that his accepting it would come in the way of the legitimate claim of Justice Kania. And to cap it all, when Justice Beaumont was retiring, it was Motilal Settleworth's father, the great Sir Chimanlal Settleworth, who moved the resolution in the bar saying that the Chief Justice must not be given a fact. And Chief Justice Beaumont said, well, Sir Chimanlal knew that I had offered Chief Justiceship to his son, but still he moved the resolution that I should not be given a fable, but perhaps it's it
He
may be
felt
said.
bad at it.
Yes, but
Yes.
Sir Chimanlal did what he thought, and I think rightly, are the standards of expected at the bar, and the personal favor that he may have got by his son being offered chief justiceship did not come in the way of his professional conduct.
Okay, right. So this is also something extraordinary,
Yes,
and
yes.
the present generation can learn, can take some
A
lessons
lot,
as
yes.
to the behavior and norms at that time.
Just to complete that narration, after retirement, John Beaumont went to England and he sat in the Privy Council.
Okay,
And it is said that even in the Privy Council, though he had differences with Settleward towards the end, he praised him, saying, in the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council, we hear counsel from across the Commonwealth countries, but there is none who can equal my Advocate General, Motilal Settleward.
okay.